Preparedness. What are some general guidelines that you should use in order to make yourself more prepared? Let's talk about that. Welcome to the Patriot Training YouTube channel. My name is Clay Howell. I'm the owner and head firearms instructor at Patriot Training. The purpose of this video is to discuss your preparedness, what you should do. I recently observed a YouTube video taught by a martial arts instructor talking about being prepared. And this person came from a certain religion where preparedness was generally looked upon favorably. And they stored up food and things of that sort. And definitely, being a firearms instructor, I get to spend a lot of time around people that you might consider to be preppers. And these are outstanding people. Don't think there's some weird militia running around in the forest in camouflage. They might do that. They might not. I've seen some that were absolute hippies, the exact opposite, if you will. But I will say this, the prepper community tends to be one of the most warm and welcoming communities I've ever had the joy of knowing people from. So I highly recommend you have prepper friends, and not just so that you can go and mooch off of them, but rather so that you can go and learn from them what they're preparing, and so that you can create your own preparedness plan as well. What should you prepare? The age-old theory is to prepare the 3 B's: beans, bullets, and band-aids. What does that mean? Beans. Well, that means food. You need to prepare some sort of food. Lay up a stock of extra food. How many times have we seen just in the past few years here in America where the power goes out due to some natural disaster or some such, or what have you, and people can't get to the store for 3 to 5 days? So you should have a little bit of an extra store of food just in case. It's only intelligent. Bullets. Well, that means the ability to defend yourself. That means guns. That means ammunition. I will go a step further. That also means the training and practice to hone your skill to where you can actually use that gun. I know how to shoot, or I was born and raised around guns, is not enough. You need to have actual skills that you've learned at an actual class and you've practiced later under your belt so that you can actually perform should the need arise. Band-aids. This is medical. As surely as you're going to need food, you're going to need to treat medical issues. It could be everything from a minor boo-boo all the way up to major catastrophic bleeding. You don't have to be a nurse, you don't have to be a doctor, but there's a few general things that you need to prepare. This requires a little bit of material, and it also requires a lot of skill that you need to acquire. So let's talk about all 3. All 3 require some materials, and all 3 require some skills. It's no good to have a whole bunch of bags of beans, let's say, for example, that are not cooked, if you don't know how to start a fire and if you don't know how to cook them. It's pointless. You'll never be able to eat those beans. So you need not only the food, but you need the skills to go with it. You need to know how to cook. You also need to know some basic bushcraft, how to start a fire. And, I recommend everybody, just about everybody, no matter what kind of a house or an apartment you live in, you could have an outdoor grill. You can have a very small one, doesn't take up much space at all, and you could build a fire from the things you find in nature, and you could cook upon said grill using what you have at hand, including very rudimentary pots and pans, and you could cook just about any kind of food that you wish. You're limited only by your own imagination. There are thousands of YouTube videos and hundreds of YouTube channels that have all sorts of bushcraft cooking outdoors, and I recommend, stay as simple as possible. View some of these and learn some skills. Maybe take a bushcrafting class and maybe put some of these fire building and cooking skills to use. A former co-worker took a cooking class once, and he was really excited to go to that with his wife. And he came back from that really rejuvenated, really amped up. He was ready to cook and make new dishes for the home. And it's just like anything else in life. Take a class and learn a whole lot of stuff, particularly things you didn't expect to learn. Same thing with medical. Yeah, we all know how to put a little bit of direct pressure on something, then put a Band-Aid on it when you cut your finger. That's cool. But what about anything above and beyond that? And there's 1,000 things that could happen. So you need some good first aid classes. You need a CPR class. You need a stop the bleed class at a very minimum. And you need the items that they recommend in those classes. You need to have those on hand in your household, in your domicile, in your vehicle, wherever you live, so that you can get to them when you need them. Now, the catastrophic bleeding stuff, I keep that on hand. That's on my body just about 24/7. The only time it's not is when I'm asleep, and then it's right beside my bed, right next to my gun. If you're going to be able to poke holes, you need to be able to plug holes as well, as the old saying says. So, definitely have the medical training to go along with the medical items, devices, and objects. When it comes to bullets, the same thing. You got to have the guns and ammo, but you got to have the training to go with it. You heard me talk about that as well. And so these are true with all three things: the bullets, the beans, and the band-aids. It's true with all three. You need to have not only the items, but you need to have the skills to go along with it. And I leave this concept with you, with only a very few exceptions. Most of the time, the limiting factor will be whatever skills you bring to the table, not what items you bring. And I'm here to tell you that if you have only white belt level skills and you have a black belt level inventory, then come a time of calamity, you're in trouble, because you're not going to acquire the skills when you need them. That's the worst time to do it. If you have a black belt level of skills, even a lack of items is not a major concern, because your skills can help you turn ordinary everyday items, or what you do have at hand, into something that could be used towards your end goal. So I highly recommend that you gain the skills in addition to storing up the items. Now, if calamity comes and you have a black belt level of skills, bullets, beans, and band-aids, and you have a black belt level of items on hand, lo and behold, you are going to be able to help so many people, it's not even funny. You're going to be the reason that folks survive, and we would like to have many, many people trained up to that point and saved up to that point as possible. That would be good. It used to be that these items that we knew were common knowledge, and that everybody prepped, and those days, those farming days, are over by and large in America, in the West. So there is a renaissance going on. There is a return to that, and I urge you to become part of that.
All right, shooters ready.
Ready.
And when you're saying ready, you're saying my sights are on target, my fingers on the trigger, my safety is disengaged. I am ready to fight without any extra motion other than a squeeze.
Ready.
Ready. I have control, I have control, I have control. And in 5, 4. A little bit of a delay. Let's do it one more time. Shooters ready.
Ready. Ready.
I have control, I have control, I have control. And in 5, 4. That's it. Well done, gentlemen. Who's going to cover the rear?
I'm covering front. You're covering front. I'm coming up.
I would bring a new magazine up first, so that my gun is a one-trick pony for as short amount of time as possible.
Ready.
And then you say up.
Cover.
That means you're up and into the fight.
Okay.
Muzzle up. I would face the rear, be looking behind, and I would have my muzzle to the sky.
Raise your workstation.
Keep that muzzle up. Keep that muzzle up. There you go.
Okay, so now I keep facing this way?
And you tell him up.
Up.
It doesn't tell him to get up, it means you are up and into the fight. And one of you say moving.
Moving. Moving.
And then the other one says move, and you move.
Very good. Elaborate on when I'm in my workspace.
All right, had a couple of
Well, folks, that about wraps it up for this video. Did I miss something? Do you feel that you need to add something to the conversation? Love to hear about it in the comments below. Do you have a story or anecdote that supports what I say? Like to hear from you too, my friends. What if you have a story that maybe contradicts what I say? You know what? I want to hear from you too. I'm a man that knows that he is of limited knowledge and ability, and I'm always looking to learn. I'd like to remind you, click like, click subscribe, and I'd urge you to click that notification bell so that you can find out when the next Patriot Training video is going to be released. And As always, I must remind you, you don't have to be a patriot to train, but you do have to train if you want to be a patriot. Take care.